Hi everybody, my name's Callum Brown and I'm here with my channel 74XX with a quick little live video. I thought it would be fun to take some boards I bought from eBay and we're just going to test them. So you may have seen my last video that was a live re-repair. I have another video I'm working on for a series called Untested, essentially where I buy boards that are untested and fix them. That'll be an edited video. So this is just the testing portion, so let's see what we have. So, I have this box of 4. As I said, came from eBay. Talked to the seller, made a bit of a deal, although the shipping is really expensive there. $60 US cost me just to get these here, apart from the cost of the boards. So, let's take a look and see what we got. Okay. So, first up, we have the boards packed in one here. So, okay, let's look at this one first. This is Pango, Sega game. Let's check it out. I have all the adapters here. I knew what I was getting, obviously, so I've got them here. So this is my Pango adapter here. It looks like it's incomplete, so I probably didn't quite finish using it. Maybe I didn't actually have a completed board before. Let's take a look at the board here. We don't need the oscilloscope, I don't think, for this one. So basically, you can see this is a genuine one. We've got a Sega logo down here. Basically, we have Z80 running the show up here. These will be the program ROMs. This will be the RAM. Over here we've got some P-ROMs, and that's about it. I guess these two back here are probably graphics ROMs, but let's plug it in and see if we get anything at all. I'm going to do my usual trick of, once I have it plugged into my test adapter, like so, I'm just going to measure really quickly to make sure that the 5 volts isn't shorted to ground in any way. So there's a ground, there's a 5 volts. No, so we get 18 ohms, so that's good. So that means this board is not likely to short or blow up when I turn it on, which is good. Okay, so let's take a look. So I'm going to turn down my power supply. Usually what I do when I turn a board on for the first time, I don't know what the power draw is, so I'm going to turn it down. That's the 5 volts I'm talking about. We'll turn it on. And see if we get anything at all here. So, CRT. So the cam is working, so we're not getting anything at all on the video at all. So let's take a quick look with the scope and we'll see what's going on. We're going to go through the boards really quickly here, about 5 minutes each. Just see if we can figure out where the problem is, and I'll actually fix them in a different video. So, turn the scope on here. And what I would normally do to check the basics here, so since nothing at all is on the CRT, I'm going to check the sync line way over here, C-sync on my board. And is it updating on there? Let's see. I'm going to, what can I do here? My oscilloscope software is working. I'm going to restart the oscilloscope software here. Let's try that. Virtual panel and auto refresh. How's that looking there? Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Okay, hold on one second here. This is the problem with doing this kind of stuff. Oscilloscope. I'm just gonna change the window here, so it should be virtual panel. Virtual panel. There we go. Okay, now we should be back in business. So if I hit the C-sync, okay, now we're seeing it there. So we take a look there. We're seeing a good C-sync signal. So we're seeing 15.58 kilohertz, which is appropriate for a sync. If we were to zoom out a little bit, you would see the the V blank. See those spaces that show up? So that's the screen jumping back to the top. So we have a sync signal, and I mean if I look at the video signals, they're completely dead. So we're not going to get any video out of this today. But let's go back over here. I'm going to bring this forward a bit. Let's go back over here to the Z80 just for a minute. We'll check some of the vital signals. So I'm going to bring up actually, we can jump over to this if we need it, a little pinout of the Z80 pinout. Okay, so if we look over here, here's our Z80 pinout. So usually what I check for right away to see where the problem might be is I'm going to take a look at the clock signal on pin 6, and I'm going to go all the way over here and look at the reset signal on pin 26. Basically, if one of those isn't doing what it should, it gives us a good clue. So pin 6 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is our clock signal, and it's looking good. Oh, did you hear that? We got some sort of blip. We got some sort of blip out of the audio when I touch that. So something is trying to come alive in this thing. So anyway, what's it doing? Crazy stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let me hit auto. Okay, there it goes. My scope is kind of acting weird. So it's getting a 3 megahertz signal, so that's good. And then I said the reset signal 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it's jumping low. I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom way out on this thing. Way out, way out. So you can see that this is resetting on its own all the time. So in the repair video, we'll go through, we'll find that reset signal, we'll see why it's not doing it. We got to check all these ROMs and everything. So let's do one thing, which is a real quick reseat of the chips that matter, which is the Z80, the RAM, and the ROMs. Let's just do that real quick. These look a little rusty, so could be the problem. So I'm just going to take the Z80 out. Oops. So it's really stuck in there, so that's could be a good indication it's a problem. It's rusted in there, so I'm going to very carefully pry it. Prying can be a problem because if you can nick the traces underneath the socket, so you got to be very careful there. So it doesn't look awful, but I do have some new ones here, so I could try them out. But let's just reseat everything for now before we move on. Do a quick check. No change. Okay. RAM looks okay. This is a 4016. We can test the RAM really quick. Let's do that just for fun here. So I'm over at the test bench here. The camera, I updated it, so we should be able to hear me now, just better than last time. So I'm going to try and use the built-in RAM test. Oops. In the Mini Pro, which is the popular USB programmer these days. Now let's put it in there. It's actually a 4016, which should be the same. It says it's normal. I'm just going to grab the other one. This is the second one here. Testing real quick. Ooh, look at that. Oh, it's fine. Just needed to be moved a little bit. Any change? No change. 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's check the reset again. My oscilloscope. Oh, sorry. My oscilloscope is really not behaving today. But anyway, it's still resetting. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next board. So there we definitely have CPU issues, and we probably have graphics issues too. So this would be a good board for us to repair. It's also full of Fujitsu chips, which are known to fail quite frequently. But the board is generally in good shape. It's a little dirty. I will give it a clean, but I'm pretty happy with this one. I don't see any major issues physically with it, so I think we'll have no problem fixing this. Okay. On to our second board. This is a bootleg Miss Pac-Man or Pac-Man board here. Easily identified by this 4 grounds in a row for the type of connector, which I have over here. 4 on top and 3 on the bottom. That's how I know that this is the one that's compatible with this particular adapter. So let's plug it in. Like so. We're going to do like I always do and do a quick short circuit test on something I recognize, like this here. We're getting 20 ohms, so again, no problem. So let's turn it on, see if we get anything at all. Okay, it's actually relatively, oh, look at that. Okay, so this is a neat one. So what we have now, the CPU is working. This is a great example of a situation where the CPU works, but the whole board doesn't. So this is upside down compared to, so I'm going to do the old 180. Oh, wrong one. Why would you do this live, people said. Transform. Okay, so look at that. So this is neat. So we have some address issues with the ROMs or something, because you saw that little, whatever that, I think it's called a clapboard, that you see in the, usually in the middle of the, after the second level? I think it's after the second level you see that little cutscene. So this is a Miss Pac-Man. I think it froze, so I'm going to reset it here. Let it do its test. I'm going to give it a little more power. Just a tad. You can actually see my little power meter up here. So just a little bit beyond 5. So this is on the on my test rig. It's not actually on the board. You should always measure voltages right on the board, because there will be losses in between. So, okay. Let's try to put some coins in here. Ah, we have audio. Okay, so this isn't going to be... Okay, so it's got the speed up, too. Awesome. Okay, so... Alright, that'll make a great one to do. I don't like doing bootlegs too often, just because... you know, it's better to work on the original boards. But this is a really common bootleg. You see them all the time. And to be honest... if you want to run Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man on a modern arcade machine, you really want to avoid the linear power supply, which is the old complex stuff. The new switching power supplies work great. This board is meant to take a switching power supply, so this is not a bad option. I'm pretty sure I can find non-speed-up chips for this, or if we're feeling crazy, we could try doing a combo chip with a switch or something like that, so we can actually go between normal or fast. So... okay, let's move on to board number 3. Some random packing materials here. I see envelopes, I see newspapers. Alright, what do we got here? Board number 3 is... What is this? Aha! Let's take a look. Sorry, I should be holding it up. Board number 3 is... Board. Right there. MDO1. Mr. Do by Universal. Okay, so... this is my Universal adapter here. So this is one of those situations where you got to be careful. Because you might look at this and say, oh, I recognize this. 5, or ground, 5, 5, 12. This could be JAMA, but it's not. At least on Universal, a good giveaway is the, again, 3 in a row at the end here. JAMA doesn't have anything that's 3 in a row like that, so that should tip you off. But let us plug in the Universal adapter. This board looks quite good and has had a few, has some work done on the past. You can see that there is indeed some work done on the bottom here. So that's, the ROMs might have been replaced at one point. Sadly, they didn't replace them with sockets. I always replace RAM and ROM with sockets. But anyway. Let's see what we get. We'll do the same old test. I'm going to check between, man, some lighting issues in here, eh? Okay. You're getting a check between 5 volt and a ground of a chip I recognize. 24, okay, that's perfectly fine, so we're not going to blow it up. I am noticing a lot of solder on the top of the board, which is a bit strange. Making me wonder if somebody has gone through and done something to this already. And then I also see that there is a missing socket here, which could be a PROM, color output ROM. It is likely because it happens to be, well, I don't know. I just think it might be, but let's find out. Okay. So, look at that, beauty. Let's flip that around. So we got a, let's transform, rotate. CRT. Alright, so this is looking relatively good. I can see closely when I look at it that there's some sparkles. So if you look kind of at the bottom of Mr. Do here, you can see that there's some sparkles in the logo at the bottom of it, right there. Also, I believe we're certainly missing sprites. We have the background, that's all background tiles, and we have the character ROM. We're definitely missing all the sprites. I don't know, I'm just going to kind of gently touch it, see if anything comes in. Nothing, so the schematics are available for Mr. Do, so we'll look at the sprite section and find out. Let's give it some quarters and see if it is usable. Okay, so I mean, obviously, what can you do if you can't see the sprites? But anyway, okay, so that's another good one for number 3. Pretty happy with that one too. That can be fixed. The amount of solder I can see on top is making me think that somebody kind of thought maybe there was a issue with a chip being loose or something like that. If you look, if I can show you, actually I can, because you know what? I changed this camera to one that has a focus ring, so I can show you closer. So if you take a look, all these chips appear to have like flux near the top of them, or on the top of them. So it's just very strange. It doesn't look like factory soldering to me. It's possible it is. Maybe someone else might recognize that and can just say, no, that's what they all look like. But it looks like someone has gone through, because then you see a couple chips in here. Can I find any that look normal? Yeah, like this one here, this 74 back here. That one looks normal to me. No one's touched that one. But some of the ones down here look like that. So, okay, let's go on to our final board. Okay, so this is our final board, and we have a Karate Champ. These are a really popular game. It had a very interesting control scheme in the arcades, and I have seen quite a few genuine ones, and I've seen quite a few bootleg ones. And I'm not an expert on the game, but I believe there's also 2 versions of the game. There's player versus player, and then maybe a 1-player version. Maybe somebody in the comments can enlighten me. Here's my Karate Champ adapter. Let's put it on here. So, looking at the board, here, so what I'm seeing is a Z80, probably for the music chips that are up here. I'm seeing this. I don't recognize. This is a Deco chip. It's actually Data East Corporation. They made a lot of custom chips for their games, so it's always a worry when you get anything like this. Like I have a Boogie Manor is one, and I've seen a few other ones like that too, where there's custom chips, and if they go bad, it's really hard to find replacements. But it can be done. And the Z80 down here is probably what actually controls the game. Here's all our ROMs. All the color P ROMs are in place. I often find these taken out because they have gone bad. I have replacements available, and I also have a solution to make rewritable ones, at least for testing. And we could use those, but all the custom things look like they're on here. Just before I turn it on, I'm going to flip it around to see the bottom. Oh, it's sandwiched, so I can't really look at the bottom. The bottom of the board itself looks fine. I can see kind of one little tool drag over there, so we could look at those traces if something is wrong. Well, let's plug it in. Okay. What do we get now? All right. Okay, so we have some good results here. So this appears to be, again, I said that there is a player versus player version, which this appears to be. I'm trying to turn this down so I can get a little bit sharper because it's looking a little soft. Okay, so this is Karate Champ player versus player. This is looking pretty good. I don't have the whole control set up right now. Okay, that was the music chip is working fine. Okay, sound is looking good. Video is looking pretty good. What I will say, I can see that the video is a little bit wiggly. Like if you were to look really closely, I mean, you can kind of see it. If you look up, maybe just at the bottom of the section here, you can kind of see it wiggling a bit. So it's looking to me like there's a bit of an issue with the H sync, maybe the horizontal lines. When I look at it, it appears to be the horizontal lines that are kind of jumping in and out. Now, I have had situations in the past where it's just my specific monitor, this Amiga monitor that I'm using, that won't sync properly. It's really, really good, but I've had situations where I've been kind of scratching my head with a sync issue and then tried it on either another arcade machine or using a scaler and found that it works fine. So, for example, I can take a real quick look at the sync signal. We can take a look and see if we notice anything interesting. So I'm gonna put my probe on the sync signal here. I'm gonna open it up so we can inspect it. That looks pretty good to me. So the fact that the signal looks good makes me think that it could just be something with wiring. It could be my adapter actually. Let me go back to the CRT here. Let's run another game. So I'm just gonna kind of wiggle around my adapter to see if it's having an effect on it. And it is seeming to. So it could be my adapter that's causing this issue. So I'll try it. I'll try it with another machine maybe, or with my scaler, and we'll see if that works. Either way, this is probably going to be a pretty small fix, so I probably won't use this for a show. So we have the Miss Pac-Man with the graphics issues. We have the completely dead Pango, and we have the Mr. Do with no sprites. So if you have a particular board you want to see fixed out of those three, let me know in the comments. And in the meantime, you'll see my first video of Untested come out, which is a centipede board. It has quite a few issues. Pretty good fix, I think. So let me know what you want to see, and I will see you next time.